Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Racing Gambit presented by USA Wager. Or should we be saying bonjour? Because we've got a big international show for you today, previewing the big race in France, as well as three Grade 1s, all in Santa Anita. But as normal, I'm not alone. I'll be doing it with Ace. Ace, how are you doing today?
J'ai du suis un croissant. I am feeling some French breakfast for this Arc de Triomphe, which you know where I'm going in that race. But also some great racing from Santa Anita, Belmont Churchill this weekend. Fall meets are back, and I'm excited.
I must admit, your French is much better than mine. Before we get into the racing action for this week, we'll start with a recap from last weekend, as normal. Well, I think it was a very predictable weekend of racing. Claret come through in the Cantillon, Hot Rod Charlie finally got his Grade 1 in the Pennsylvania Derby. Jackie's Warrior romped home by 6 3/4 lengths in the Gallant Bob. And then Life is Good got his win in the Kelso Handicap. Did anything catch your eye last week, Ace?
In all honesty, winners just kept winning. I hope that they all rest up. I hope that we all see them in the Breeders' Cup. And in all honesty, I know I gave out a lot of chalky picks, but it came out chalky anyways, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, the one thing that we both got right last week was all the winners, and I think we were just trying to play a guessing game for what was going to come second. But you look at the horses that come second in the race. I mean, Midnight Bourbon was probably the one, which was the obvious one that was going to come second. But we were trying to find a bit of value, wasn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's really hard to gauge who the best 3-year-olds in the country are behind Essential Quality and behind Malintat. But you got Hot Rod Charlie, who's second tier, and maybe Medina Spirit, and then everyone else. Everyone else is below them.
Yeah. But so we'll get straight into it, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for this race. The Arc from Longchamp, a Group 1 over 1 mile 3 furlongs. There is a winner new in for the Breeders' Cup, but I think that's very much an afterthought for this. A €5 million purse. This is the 100th renewal of the race, but I think this is one of the most interesting. You've got 2 British Classic winners, a Breeders' Cup winner, and then 2 very interesting Japanese horses coming over to compete in this. Ace, where do you start? Because this is a star-studded field.
Well, I start and end with where I usually start and end when it comes to racing over on that shelf, and it's who does Charlie Appleby have? Oh, he's got somebody named Ayadar, who I've given out winners here before. I hate to see that. I agree it's a completely star-studded field, but it could have been even more star-studded, right? We've had some injuries. We've had some horses that, for some reason are skipping this race. I think it's Ayadar's race to win. I do think, and we mentioned previously, Love at 20-1 is kind of like, okay, maybe a little upset special here. But I look at this going, I'm not going to look at the Japanese horses. I'm going to look at who Charlie Appleby has. Aiden O'Brien's got some sleepers, I'm sure, in this field. But where did you land? You're closer to the action than I am.
Yeah, so I think you've got the top 7 in the betting, and then you can completely ignore the rest of them. So the top 7 is Adia, Tanawa, Hurricane Law, Snowfall, Chronogenesis, Deep Bond, Love. The winner is going to come from them 7. You can forget about the rest of them. I think Adia has such a good chance. He ticks so many boxes. Like Derby winners do well in this. Like 3 Derby winners in the last 12 have won the Arc. And I mean, he was so impressive winning the King George and Queen Elizabeth on his last run. He was meant to run again before then on Trials Weekend a couple of weeks ago, but didn't. But that was where Snowfall ran, and she come undone. Which I've been talking up Tiona all this week. Tiona beat Snowfall on Trials Weekend, but then Tiona's pulled out because of the rain that's planned in Paris. So. There's just no chance. I keep landing on Hurricane Lane. I just really like Hurricane Lane. St. Ledger winners don't do very well in the Arc historically, but Hurricane Lane is not your average St. Ledger winner, and he's won a group. I think it was Group 1 in Paris at Longchamp, and that was one of his first Group 1 winners. And I think that is just and he won that by 6 lengths as well. So it was a bit of a batter in that. And I think I hold that in quite big regard that he's got the experience around this track. Whereas someone like Adair, although he could be, I mean, if he wins this, he's a legendary horse. Like, you don't know what he could come after this. But I just fancy Hurricane Lane. Tanawa was the favourite for a long, long time in this. But I'm not. I know he ran quite well in the Irish Champion Stakes. Frankie Dettori bigged him up last week on ITV. But I just can't have him. I just can't.
No, I'm a hard pass on Tarnawa. And it's, listen, very impressive Breeders' Cup win. And then, yeah, has been good in spots. But realistically, you got some really class horses, to your point here. I think that Breeders' Cup win was a fluke. Not saying it's not a good horse, but it's not a great horse. And great horses win this race.
Yeah. And you've also, like I did mention Snowfall. Snowfall was perfect up until trials weekend, where she just come undone. But Frankie Dettori come out afterwards and said that it was a poor ride for him. But I don't know how much you're going to believe him off that. I think Love is the value in here because I think there could be a big run from her. She looked much more like herself at Windsor. And at 20-1, you're going to have a bit of each way money on that for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those things where you look at the program and you go, if you took away the odds, you'd be like, 20-1 is great.
Yeah, and then you got the 2 Japanese ones in here. Obviously, they've never won an Arc. They've got really big high hopes for the Arc this year. They seem to think Chrono Genesis is the pick, but I think Deep Bond has a much better chance. Still along like the Hurricane Lane Lions, Deep Bond won a race at Longchamp back in September. So like last month. So like that was her last run, and Deep Bond beat Broom, who Broom is also in this by 1.5 lengths. And I just think out of the two, Deep Bond is the better one.
From a value standpoint, you're right. And it's always interesting too, right? When you have some groups where you've seen the horses beaten and yet the odds just don't reflect it. You go, what am I missing here, right? Yeah, sure. On paper, this horse might be better, but this other one's won more, been more consistent. I'm with you. It's talent over what you've actually seen with your eyes, you know?
Yeah. So we'll have a pick on that one then. Ace, what are you going for?
I'm going with Charlie Appleby, and I'm going with Anita.
Yeah, and I'll be going Hurricane Lane. I think it just ticks so many boxes. The most interesting one is stalls between 1 and 8 have had 18 of the last 23 winners, and Hurricane Lane is in 2. Adier is in 11. And I just think that it's another tick. But I do think Deep Bond and Love I'll be having a bit each way on because I just think one of them could snag second.
Makes sense.
So we'll go back over to your neck of the woods, Ace, for the Awesome Against Stakes, a grade 1 over 1 1/8 miles for the 3-year-old and overs. This is a winning year in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Bob Baffert has won this 6 times in the past. Medina Spirit is coming in here. Are you going to be taking him on or?
Yeah, I'm going to be taking him on. And here's the thing. This is the first time Medina Spirit is facing older horses. And I think that's really important. Yes, Santa Anita is his home track, but so are a lot of these horses. I'm going with a horse that usually likes more distance, but can also win from the front end and can also run somebody down. And that's Tis a Magician. And now, mind you, you got Flavian Pratt, who is going to win the jockey title barring injury. This horse just knows how to win. Has been on a hot streak. And can I say, part owner, very small portion. I'm just saying, this horse is hot. It's hot. And I just, listen, Medina Spirit is going to go off. They have a morning line 5-2. It's going to go off at 1-1. Like, heavy money is going to be bet on him. And I just don't trust the 3-year-old going against older horses. Especially if Medina doesn't get the lead. The race is over because he doesn't like the pass horses at all. So it'll be very interesting if they send him, if they have to really work hard and see what happens against older horses. Where did you land?
I mean, I have not much more to add because I am also with Tis a Magician on this. I think 3 wins, 3 seconds, like it is pretty good fun coming into this. 4-1 as well. Obviously, Tripoli beat him in the Pacific Classic, who's also in here, and Tripoli is like one of the hot things for the Breeders' Cup. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of condition he comes into this in. But Tis a Magician's also two from four at Santa Anita. Won the Tokyo City Cup here as well, and obviously won the Cougar, didn't he, last time out? Also at Denmark, that one was at Del Mar though. I just think there's just so much to like about Tis a Magician. I think it's just got so much going in his favour, and I would not be going anywhere near Medina Spirit. Even like because last time out he won the Shed Belief Stakes, which was a major step down from this company.
Yeah.
And I just think coming back up to this, like you said, for the first time with the horses that are older than him, so much could possibly go wrong.
I'm completely with you, and I think the thing too is you got to look at it and say this horse does not want to travel. Bob Baffert doesn't want to take him away from his home. It's Santa Anita, Del Mar, or bust. And you're right, that race at Del Mar, it was a walk in the park. Yeah, there was one other horse, Rock Your World, in that race, but that horse hadn't raced in a very long time. Medina went and got the lead and just kept going on with the lead. It wasn't much to do about anything. These other horses, I mean, you got Midcourt, who's 6 years old, who's won some big races. Express Train, 4-year-old, solid horse, right? A lot of in the money finishes. I look at this and I say 1-1, maybe 9-5 on Medina Spirit isn't worth it. And to your point, you got Tripoli, you got some others in here who realistically they can put this horse to bed. They really can. And what's really interesting is I don't know where coming out of this race, right? If Medina Spirit wins, great. But where do they go? Do they go to the Classic against Knicks Go and Essential Quality? I don't think so. I don't think this horse is good enough. Do they go to the Dirt Mile? Like, I really see this, and I hate to say this. I think Medina Spirit shows up poorly this weekend, and then Bob keeps them out of the Breeders' Cup and says, either we're going to go off to the breeding shed or we're going to get them ready for a 4-year-old season and try and get this horse back to the speed that it showed previously.
Yeah. I'll be kind of like just missing probably the trick in here with Tripoli because obviously he won the Pacific Classic last time out, and like obviously he beat Tis a Magician on that run as well. Is he just not a good thing for this as well?
I would agree. And the Del Mar surface, I mean, they're both dirt, but they're built just a little differently. Where I could see, where a horse that performs well at Del Mar might not come back. But to your point, like Tripoli is a very solid horse. Yeah, it was a bit of an upset the way they won the Pacific Classic, but realistically, I mean, very solid horse, a lot more experience, and they can run down fast horses. They've shown it again and again in the past. And I don't think Medina Spirit's going to go out there and post a 22-45 half and be able to hang on. And I think that's what they're going to have to do to get the lead. If they let Medina Spirit walk a half mile in 47, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose it. Someone needs to pressure this horse. Someone needs to make this horse run fast early because if they do, he will fold.
Yeah, the only thing that puts me off Tripoli is it's kind of performed at Santa Anita really. Like he has won there twice, but like nothing near this kind of standard.
Correct.
The other one that I kind of do like a little bit is Express Train. And like I think I'd be probably playing him underneath Tis a Magician because he won the San Pasquale here at Santa Anita in January, obviously beating Tis a Magician on that time as well. But I just think he's a smart one to play in second in this.
I don't blame you one bit. I'm actually probably going to play Express Train Tis a Magician in Tripoli and hope that they all beat Medina Spirit because I think that's where the money's going to be. So I don't blame you playing them underneath for sure.
Yeah. So it's final word on that then. So you're going to go with Tis a magician. Like
Yeah.
both of us
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and not only that, but like Flavian Pratt, I don't know if you heard this stat, and I don't have the right percentage. He won darn near half the stakes races at Del Mar. And he's consistently at 30%, 25 to 30% at Santa Anita win percentage, and it's even higher in stakes races. So it's hard for me on the dirt to go against him with a special horse like Tis a Magician.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Tis a magician wins this for me, but I think I'll be playing Express Train just underneath him.
I'm with you.
So next up, we're going to go to the Rodeo Drive Stakes, which is also at Santa Anita. It's a Grade 1 for the fillies and mares that are 3 years old and over 1.25 miles. This is also winning you in for the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. This looks like a pretty decent race, I think. Ace, what you got down for this?
The Rodeo Drive.
Rodeo Drive.
But that one's tricky because in
It's
LA,
spelled like rodeo.
it's spelled like rodeo. They pronounce it Rodeo. It's a street in Beverly Hills where all the rich people go shopping. But everyone south of Rodeo call it Rodeo Drive. So this is an interesting race. This is the thing where it's like, I like Red Lark, the 9 at 10 to 1, but I hate Mike Smith, and this horse just hasn't been super consistent. I look at Flavian Pratt and Richard Boltis again on luck at 3 to 1, and I just say to myself, no, there's going to be an upset somewhere. We're back on the downhill turf course, which I'm so excited about. It's one of the coolest courses. I'm going to land on the favorite going to Vegas. And another my racehorse pick. I like Umberto Rispoli. He's a turf wizard. He knows how to win on turf courses, period. End of sentence. And I know, so we didn't go with the favorite last time. I'm going to go with the favorite here. I think they're super consistent. I think they're solid. I think they're going to handle the downhill turf course well. And I know Umberto is ready to roll when it comes to turf racing at Santa Anita.
Yeah, I've kind of landed on Magic Attitude here.
Okay.
Because she was pretty disappointing in the Diana of the New York, but I think coming back over to a Santa Anita, unlike this kind of course, I think is going to kind of suit her. She won the Group 2 Sheep's Head last year, and she has got some quality back form winning the Belmont Oaks Invitational, and she was third in the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup as well. I could see her just bouncing back into form here. Although I do kind of like a bit of an outsider as well, for reasons I'm not too sure of.
So, I think this is the type of race where it's either super chalk or there's going to be some bombs because no one's used to riding the downhill turf course. It hasn't been open in years. And we're going 1.25 miles on it. Usually it's sprints that are on this course. So, I don't blame you. I mean, you can never hate a horse out of Galileo, right? And with John Velasquez, who we are predicting will lose on Medina Spirit, if you want to take him and say he's going to get one today, he's going to get one somewhere, I don't blame you taking a Great British horse here. Not one bit. Who's your bomb though? I want to hear your bomb.
Yeah, so my bomb is Fast Jet Court. I think she's got some interesting kind of back form from Brazil, where she won 2 Grade 1s and 2 Grade 3s. She was 4th in the American on her American debut in the John C. Mabee beyond your pick going to Vegas. But I think she could just be an interesting contender.
So I'm glad you said that because I'm going to completely fade that one. Drayden Van Dyke and a horse from Brazil. No, thank you. I thought you were going to say that you like Neige Blanche, the French, because it's the French weekend. And that's my kind of like fringe outside play. Like JJ Hernandez knows how to win races at Santa Anita. Running on different types of turf courses seems to suit the French. And I figure, you know what, at 8 to 1, I think it's going to be my underneath play. So I think I'm going to go going to Vegas on top with Neige Blanche underneath.
But we could probably give the French this one because they're not going to get the winner in the Arc anyway, are they?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
They might as well get one winner somewhere.
That's very true. And yeah, it's interesting. You know, like a lot of these horses, I mean, you don't have someone who's just winning every race, right? And so you got to pick your spots of when you think they're going to show up best. But I just think this one's a going to Vegas kind of thing. And if it's not, then I'm with you. There might be a bomb.
Yeah. So you're with going to Vegas for this then, and I am going with. It's not a biased pick, let me say. Magic Attitude, the British bred horse in here.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all.
So we'll move on to the final race that we're going to be looking at, the Santa Anita Sprint Championship. It's a Grade 1, also at Santa Anita, obviously, as the name says. Over 6 furlongs for the 3-year-olds and over. This is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So CZ Rocket could be the second horse to win back-to-back races of this. Do you fancy his chances?
I really, really do not like picking against CZ Rocket. I don't. And Flagstaff is back as well, running in this race. These two just run 1-2 all the time against each other. I really like Flagstaff. I really like CZ Rocket. You've got the new shooter, Dr. Cheval, coming in as the morning line favorite with Flavian Pratt. I'll tell you what, though, you can toss 2 horses that with the pretty decent odds in this race. I just picked 2 my racehorse horses. You can toss these 2 my racehorse horses in this race. Vertical Threat, the 6-1, the 2, toss them, no chance. And then no chance of that. Collusion Illusion, the 6, 4-1. Collusion Illusion, they've messed with this horse so much. They don't know what to do with him. So they're just throwing him here. They tried the turf last time. That didn't work. They put him against one of Baffert's monsters. I think it might have been Gamine. Like, what are you doing with this horse? They don't know. So it's really hard for me to go against CZ Rocket or Flagstaff. I'm going to throw Dr. Cheval in there, and I really think it goes 4-1-5, 4-5-1. I'm just going to trifecta box the heck out of 1-4-5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the winner is from them 3. You could kind of throw a needle in there, couldn't you? And like, it's going to be one of them. It's going to be one of them. I think CZ Rocket is the one for me. 2 for 5 this season. Win to the Hot Springs and then the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap as well. Obviously, he was second in the Pat O'Brien last time, which makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. But I expect him to bounce back into this like pretty easily, I think.
I agree. And like, this horse is super class. I know they're 7 years old, but this horse just really likes to compete and win. And they're not going 6.5. They're not going 7 furlongs. They're going 6. 6 is the bread and butter here.
Yeah, I think like you said, number 1, Dr. Shivel is the interesting one here because like it looks like he's almost like the apparent heir to CZ Rocket, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But and I mean, like he is in ridiculously good form. He's going for a 5th straight win here, isn't he? Yeah. This would be the pick of them 5. But he has got a good chance, isn't he?
He really does. And, you know, you get Flavian Pratt aboard. You get the rail in a sprint. The only time you'd ever want the rail, right? Like, you just go and you take the shortest way around. It's going to be really interesting to see. Maybe CZ Rocket is past their prime, but until they really show a large decline over multiple races, it's going to be hard for me to get off them. And what's going to be really interesting is, does anyone decide to rate? Does anyone decide to just sit behind? Like, maybe that's Flagstaff today. Maybe Flagstaff goes, let those 2 do all the work and I'll just come up and sweep them from behind. But otherwise, yeah, I do think it lands in there, and I'm glad this is a win you're in. I want to see half this. I want to see the 1, 4, and 5 all come back for the Breeders' Cup for sure.
Yeah, I think this could probably be the best of the 3 American races we've spoken about like this weekend, because I think it's going to be very interesting to see the tactics that are kind of played out.
I would agree with you. I think this race, you know what I'm going to say? I think this race has the best talent. And even though it's only 6 horses, and I've already tossed 2 out. I still think the 3 favorites are really special horses, and they all deserve a chance to win, and they all like you don't see many 7-year-olds running against each other in sprints. It's great racing, and we should all be just happy that we actually have horses that are running at 7 still.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So, final word on that one then, Ice. Where you landing?
CZ Rocket, Flagstaff, and the new Schroeder Dr. Cheval trifecta all day long. Superfecta, those 3, and then everyone else. Gonna try and hit 10-1 on my money.
Yeah, I think I'll be going 1 CZ Rocket and then 2nd Dr. Cheval. I think Flagstaff is going to be 3rd. Like he's not going to be much further back than that.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you.
Yeah, so we'll round off then the show today with our best bets for the weekend. Ace, what you got for your best bet this weekend?
My best bet of the weekend is going to be Tis a Magician. Give me Flavian Pratt. Give me the older horses against Medina Spirit. It's not that I want this horse to lose. Okay, maybe I do want this horse to lose. But realistically, facing older for the first time, I'm going to be going against Medina Spirit.
Yeah, my best bet for the weekend, it comes in the Arc. I just think Hurricane Land is such a good thing for it. And I know people have a load of people are really against it because of the fact that he won the St. Ledger, and they're trying to use that as a kind of bat to beat him with. But he's not a regular St. Ledger winner, and I think he's going to go very, very well in the Arc.
Well, good luck to you. I'll be on Charlie F. Blizayadar, but you know what? I'll be rooting for your horse if mine's nowhere to be seen coming down the track.
So that rounds off the Racing Gambit for this weekend. We'll be back next weekend, presuming obviously the weekend action then. But for now, thank you for joining us, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Sports 2.0 network. Thank you and goodbye.